Hello there. I am showing off a piece of software that I finished writing just today. I call it PNGStego. It allows you to inject any file within a reasonable file size into a PNG of your choice. So, for example, if I have this little image that I made, I can put any file that I wish into it. For example, here's a font. Fixed sys. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the program name and run it with Java. So java -jar PNGStego, and then if I don't provide any arguments, it'll tell you the nomenclature for how to invoke it. So I'll go ahead and pass encode, and I'll give it our Mystery Island Explorer image, and I'm going to inject the font into it. Now, the way this program works is by modifying the least significant bits of the image. So the more bits that you modify, the more you can fit into the image, but the more obvious the image degradation becomes. So level 1, where you're only modifying the lowest bit for each RGB value, it is the least noticeable, and unless you have really good eyes, you're not going to notice anything, especially if there's already a lot of color in the image. 2, once again, not very noticeable, but once you get to 3 and 4, it's a little bit more noticeable, but you can fit a lot more space inside of a single PNG. So it looks like our file is 27,000 bytes, so that'll be under the first level even, so I'll go ahead and inject it using, keep the current scheme. Interesting, I guess that's OBS. But I'm going to go ahead and inject it using only the least significant bit, the last one. So I'll type in A1. Next, you can leave a message up to 64 characters. I'll tell the dude, here's the font you wanted. It's fixed sys, and it's a .chu type font. And then you can save it. There you go. Now, if you zoom in, can't really tell a difference. It looks just like the file beforehand. And then, if I were to delete this, I'm just deleting it for the sake of it's as if I didn't have it and I'm decoding it for the first time. So decode, if I can spell, and drag and drop the file that your friend or whoever gave you, and then it'll tell you the comment that he wrote on it. Here's the font you wanted, it's fixed sys, and it's a .ttf. So I'll just call it fixed sys.ttf. And then it extracts it in the folder and works just great. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing, but this time I'm going to encode it with the while modifying the bottom 4 least significant bits. It'll be much more obvious that there's something fishy about the file. So let's get rid of this output. Let's bring in our fixed sys once again. Now, since we're using the 4th, it's only going to take up probably about just a little bit of the left of the image, because the way it saves them is from top down, left to right. So leave a message, and then we'll save it. Now this time, since, like I was saying, if you have a really noisy image to begin with, it's less noticeable, but since we just have this solid background right here, it's very obvious that there's a weird strip of color noise going on over here. And so yeah, but you can still decode it just like always. Just bring the output back on. TTF.TTF. and there's your file. Okay, so that's a basic overview on how to use it. Now obviously if you try to store something, whoops, I was thinking I was running the program. So now let's say we want to encode something into it, and we're going to encode something that's obviously not going to fit, like let's just take these color bars. It's a 6 megabyte file. So it says our file is 6 million something bytes, and the most we can fit is 116,000. You can either just do Control-C to get out of it at this point, or if you were to actually try to inject it for some odd reason, it'll just throw an exception because it runs out of room on the image to put your file in. But that's the basic overviews for it. If you have any questions or comments, just throw me a line. I'll also post the source of the code as well. It's a NetBeans project, and it'll be in the description. Thanks for watching.